Hey everybody, welcome. Today we have an awesome podcast. I got a great friend here, Mr. Pesh. How you doing, man?
What's cracking? I'm good. What's happening?
Man, I'm so glad to have you here.
Good to be here.
You know, this is going to be a cool one because usually we just get everybody's story. We got your story, I think, a couple times, a couple different aspects of it. Mm-hmm. But I know it's Thanksgiving season, so today we're going to talk a little bit about gratitude and recovery. And
I like that.
I want to touch on how to stay thankful when you're in the middle of your process.
How to stay thankful when you're in the middle of the beginning process of recovery or being in recovery for a while?
Just being in it. And also we're going to talk about different parts of it, like the beginning, the middle, even how to stay thankful when things aren't going your way. Because I know how long you've been clean and sober?
16 and a half years. December will be exactly 16 and a half years.
I
know we're right there.
We're right there together, 16 years. So sometimes, things don't go our way. And this isn't really about staying sober. This is about staying thankful. If you can stay thankful, I think sobriety is going to be a part of that. But when you start complaining and things like that, then you're on your way back.
That's a very good point you made. So it may appear that sometimes things don't go our way, but in reality, things are always going our way as long as we're keeping the drugs and alcohol out of our system. God is always, whatever God puts in our path, is going in our way.
I agree.
And sometimes things need to happen to make us realize which way we shouldn't be going, so that things can continue to keep going in the way that they need to be going, as opposed to like what we perceive. If God's in charge and God's in the driver's seat, things are always going our way. Now, this whole thing that you talk about being thankful, 'tis the season. We're coming up on Thanksgiving. Gratitude is equal to being thankful. I think that when people start complaining, it's because they aren't grateful. Like they're either expecting stuff, they think they're entitled to stuff, but like, I want to be thankful and grateful every single day for everything I have and everything I don't have, right? So, I do a gratitude list with a bunch of different guys. We call it Sober Brothers, right?
Talk about gratitude. I don't think people even know what a gratitude list is.
So, when I was new in recovery, sometimes I would sit in certain rooms, like recovery rooms, and every once in a while you get some dude in there to be like, my name is Jerry and I'm a grateful alcoholic. And I'd be like, well, that's nice for you, Jerry. Right?
Yeah.
You're grateful for what? Because you're an alcoholic? But what I didn't realize is that Jerry has a big, full life. And so when I go on to listen to Jerry share, he talks about all the good things that have come out of his life as a result of getting sober. So if Jerry wasn't an alcoholic in the first place, he wouldn't have ended up having to come on this path to get this big, huge, abundant life. Therefore, when Jerry says he's a grateful alcoholic, it's because he wouldn't have, if he had just been a depressed fool that had alcoholism but never actually got sober, he'd never be able to cherish the life he got. So gratitude is when you're appreciative of what you have. Well, gratitude is when you see the little things in life that are important to you. Gratitude is when if you have a child and you look into the eyes of your child, like it came from you to a certain extent, but that came from God to you.
Yeah, that's a gift.
That's a gift. Everything's a gift. When you see the leaves on the trees, like if you could grow that on your own, you could grow it because you water the plant, right?
Yeah.
But you can't.
Not the creator.
Not the creator. So everything everything can be. You can be grateful for everything.
Yeah.
I'm grateful for every experience in my recovery as I go through the day. Every God-given moment.
Yeah.
So gratitude.
What about this? What about this quote? I might not be where I want to be, but thank God I'm not where I used to be.
I love that quote. But when you get to a certain point, when you elevate in your recovery and you realize you're right where you want to be, right? Like a lot of people think they need to be somewhere financially.
Yeah.
But I know a lot of people that get a lot of money. They make lots of money. They're never happy. They're never satisfied. I know millionaires that are suicidal because they're not billionaires.
They have no purpose.
They have no purpose. So I am today right where I want to be. As long as I make a few phone calls to a few people that are struggling, if for a second in my life, if I think I'm helping those people, joke's on me. They're actually helping me.
Wow.
So that keeps me grateful.
That's good.
And in the moment.
Some people, you're so right, because when you're in jail, I remember being in jail and then getting in that big silver bus,
Yeah.
going to court.
Yeah.
And when you're in that bus, you see somebody waiting at the bus stop. You're like, man, I wish I could be waiting at the bus stop.
I miss
Or you
those
see
days
somebody roaming around. You're like, I wish I could be roaming around.
I miss those days of freedom, right?
Yeah. And then when you're at the bus stop, you're like, oh man, I wish I had that bike.
Right.
And when you get the bike, you're like, oh man, but look at that guy's car. So it could be nonstop.
It could be nonstop. You know what? People that are in jail can find gratitude for things in jail.
Yeah.
Example. Let's
Yeah.
say, for example, like you don't have a pillow, right?
Yeah.
But somehow when you're in there, you've realized that if you take a roll of toilet paper,
Roll of toilet paper.
and you somehow like roll it up with something, that could work as a pillow.
Yeah.
So you could become grateful for the fact that you have more of a soft spot to put your head on,
Yeah.
as opposed to not, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Or when you get a spread, or if you get some commissary, or
sandwich.
somebody puts some money on your books, right? 'Cause
Yeah.
none of those old school so-called friends are going to put money on your books, but when the family sends $20, that goes a far way in jail, right? So when you get that stuff, you could become grateful for the little things, right?
I noticed I'm happier when I'm grateful. If you're complaining, you're always going to be unhappy.
Absolutely. There's a place in Orange County at this place called Charlie Street. It's an indigent 10-day detox. On the wall it says, "Grateful people are happy people, and those that aren't." Right. So yeah. I mean, I believe that if we forget where we came from in recovery and we don't remain grateful for everything, we will go back down that dark path because we're not grateful, because we're ungrateful.
You're
right?
ungrateful. You're
Yeah.
ungrateful. That's so true. You know, Pej, so a lot of different people are watching. People, friends, family, people that struggle with addiction, people that already been clean and sober for a while. But I want to focus real quick on people that are in the beginning of their recovery and they start complaining and they start saying, oh, like the victim mentality comes like, oh, if it wasn't for this person, then I would be here. If it wasn't for my therapist, then I would have a job. Or if it wasn't for my sponsor, then I would be further along. Different things like that. But how can gratitude fight negative thoughts that lead to relapse?
So people that are complaining, so there's a lot of ways of interpreting somebody that's ungrateful in early recovery. You know, the thing that keeps us out there can be called many different things. It can be called the disease of addiction. It can be called the ego.
Yeah.
It could be called alcoholism. However you want to dress it up, it can be called the devil. Sometimes the devil whispers in your ear, right?
Yeah,
It whispers in your ear to go get high. It whispers in your ear to put that needle in your body, to put that pipe in your mouth, to put that liquor in your body. So when you get into recovery, I believe the disease of addiction sleeps with one eye open. In other words, the beast is just waiting for you.
Yeah.
It's waiting for you to build enough of a case to get out of the recovery process. So people will go to rehabs, they'll go to sober livings, they'll go to some place where the disease is over here saying, yo, like, check it out. You got enough information over there. But this is about me and you.
Yeah.
Like, me and you need to go do some more dancing. You don't need to hang out with those people. Forget that guy. That guy's going to keep talking about recovery to you. We got some things to take care of. You need to go hang out, and because your kids, what about your job? So you're going to make up all these excuses, and you're going to complain about the place. The beds are too hard. The food sucks here. All of these different things. Really, what's happening is the disease is basically doing push-ups, right? And it's just waiting to get you. So the best way to redirect a person, this is what I do, because I have sober livings. Best way to redirect a person that's ungrateful is basically call it as I see. I'll be like, you know what? With all due respect, we all love you. Everybody here cares about you, but you look like you're on a dark path. And maybe you got blind spots. A lot of people in early recovery have lots of blind spots. If you've got blind spots, you maybe you're not realizing that if you're not working on your recovery, you're working on your relapse.
Wow.
So if you're going to sit here and start complaining about the little things, you're going to build such a big case on this place or me or whoever's around you that it's just going to grow and grow and grow, and it's going
No one will be able to talk you out of it.
No, you're going to go right out the door. That's why, like, in treatment centers, AMA. Like, when somebody's in AMA mode, most likely, like, they're not really there for the right reasons, right? They're coming up with a world of excuses to be able to go do whatever they're supposed to do outside of there, but they're not really treating the alcoholism or the addiction, right?
Yeah.
But when a person gets real with themselves, like when you can actually tell a person, yo, like check this out, you sound ungrateful.
Yeah.
Why wouldn't you be grateful? I mean, weren't you just doing fentanyl? Weren't you like dying in the street? Weren't you overdosing? Weren't you putting your life on the line? It's give them a wake up call, because you may be the voice that is able to get past the beast that's within that person to maybe, hopefully, God willing, have a wake up call.
Yeah.
You think about this, Isaac. We know lots of people that overdose and die. Okay, so people that have been in the path of recovery, people that have heard messages from messengers, what kills them? What kills them? Their ego kills them.
Yep.
If you play with fire, you will get burned.
You will.
So if these people, like, you tell them what's good for them, they have the choice then when the rubber hits the road, that if something's in front of them, they can either say, I'm not going to touch that. Like, I know what happens here. I've gotten to a point where I know the magnitude of my disease when I'm out there. Therefore, I need to be in here 100% and resist that, and I don't want to touch it. You want to put a silence all the way to the voice that's negative that brought you in that path in the first place, and truly find the best version of yourself. And a person with an attitude of gratitude will make it.
I like that.
They'll always make it. I've always seen that. When people are really grateful for the little stuff, they don't need all the big stuff. Personally, this is what I think. If you got 3 meals a day, and you have
Hots in a cot.
and you can have a place to sleep, even if you don't have a job, you're doing better than the guy that's sleeping in the tent. That's
In the top 1%.
right. So you might as well be grateful for that.
Yeah.
I often, in our gratitude list, I tell the guys that I sponsor or friends and stuff that join, don't come with your generic answers of like what you're grateful for, like oxygen. All right, we all like, you don't even think about breathing air, right? Don't come at me with the oxygen, right? Talk about some deep stuff. How about this?
Good oxygen.
I'm grateful for redeveloping a relationship with my mother.
Yeah.
Who I used to scare, who was like worried. She'd wait up all hours of the night, like wondering if her son's gonna die. Now she talks to me. Now we get to kick it together and like look in each other's eyes, and she gets to have a sober son. That's something to be grateful for.
Yeah.
It's the little things, man.
Yeah, I like that. You know, a lot of people say, well, you know, I'll be grateful when I have this, or I'll be grateful when I have that. What I like, a tool or a technique that I learned how to do is when I feel like I'm getting ungrateful, because we battle with that every day probably.
Yeah.
When I feel like those thoughts are overwhelming me in my mind, I'll just start speaking how grateful I am, because that speaking will remove the thoughts. Because you can't speak something and think the opposite at the same time.
Words have power.
They do. So I'll start saying, thank you for this car. Thank you for my wife. Thank you for my kids. Thank you for my sobriety. Thank you for this. Thank you for that. And that will automatically start making me feel better. It'll make me feel happier.
Yeah.
It's a game changer.
I did an intervention on a guy in a different state. He hated my guts at first. And later on, after I actually helped him get it to where he needed to go, I put him in treatment, and then he himself hired me as his coach, a recovery coach, right? Kind of a person that keeps him accountable and things like that. But every time I meet with this guy, I'd see like he looked uneasy. He was he is in a sober living down the street from his own house.
Yeah.
He is allowed to be in the family's life. He's allowed to go to check out the kids and be around them. But like every time I'd see him, he just looked uneasy. I'd be like, "Are you good? Are you?" And he's like, "No, I'm not good. Like I just don't see recovery the way you do. I'm not really excited for life." I said, you know what? I get it. I understand. In early recovery, we're going to think about all the stuff we don't have and not notice the stuff we do have. I said, there are some fathers who the wives won't let them see their kids. I know a guy that had 10 years sober. His wife still wouldn't let him have the kids in his life in any capacity.
Wow.
Right. So for him, I said, whenever you go to your house, think about your little daughter and the other 3 boys. When you walk in the room, you're their hero. You're their everything, right? View them, go view yourself, give yourself positive affirmations, look in the mirror every morning, tell yourself positive things, like verbally, say it to yourself, and it'll uplift your spirits. And view yourself the way your little daughter and your 3 boys view you. View yourself that way, become your own hero, not in an egotistical fashion, but in the purest, most perfect way that God created you.
That's good. I love that. That's so good. View yourself.
View yourself as a good human, because we are good humans.
You are. Don't be so hard on
Don't be
yourself.
so hard. We're our own worst critics.
That's good. That's good.
Believe in yourself.
What? So those are a couple of things, a couple of techniques. What are some techniques we could practice to remain grateful in tough times?
Well, I don't know. So there's a lot of people that have faith in a higher power, faith in a God, and then there's some people that don't. Those are the fun ones to actually, for me to work with, is the atheists and the agnostics.
Yeah.
I was one once, or at least I
Me too.
pretended like I was.
too.
But in reality, I think for those that do have a faith, I don't care what religion you're from or whatnot, I believe the power of prayer and meditation goes very far. And if it starts in the top of the morning and you're trying to connect to the higher source, usually, like a lot of people will hit their knees. I believe that's a very good way of humbling yourself to your higher power because you're submitting and you're just asking, God, higher source, Buddha, Allah, whatever. What do you have in store for me today? Show me how I can be effective and usefulness throughout my day. When you're separating yourself from whatever the creator is,
Yeah.
later you realize the creator's within. So you're really not separating yourself all throughout your day. You just realize that God has a plan.
Yeah.
And it ain't mine. Like if I tell God, what is that funny saying they say in recovery? Like tell God your plan and watch your higher power laugh at you, right?
Yeah.
Because if I try to do things selfishly and do things for gain, personal gain, and all this stuff that I think is going to uplift me,
Yeah.
I will always be disappointed.
You want to make God laugh, then just tell him your plans.
Tell them your plans, right? So here's another thing. Like, I know this, like for me, and this isn't just from the 12-step world, but like, there's two different styles of living. There's 3D living, third dimensional living, which is all material, right? That's basically everything that shiny stuff that I think is gonna fill me up. And then there's the realm of the spirit, and that's that fourth dimensional living.
real.
So if I got nice cars, right, and I got that stuff from recovery, but like nice cars cost a lot. Nice cars have high insurance. Nice cars, the gas is even high. You have to like put nicer gas or better gas, right? None of that stuff fills me up. A nice house doesn't fill me up. A nice girlfriend that's hot and all that stuff doesn't fill me up. If I'm in that realm of the spirit and I'm that's the richest a person could feel.
Yeah.
That is like, for me, when God is in charge and I'm going in God's direction, nothing can touch me. Nothing can affect me. I can walk through fire, right?
Yeah.
Like it's all good.
It's true.
But when I be stuck in that third dimensional living where give me, that's going to fill me up, that's going to fill me up, it's never enough. And that's why people don't be grateful. I'm grateful today for my relationship with God.
That's good. I love that. Like, what about staying away from complainers or staying away from people that aren't grateful? Because, like, tell me who your 5 closest friends are. I'll tell you where you're going. If you're hanging around with people that are excited about life, they're happy, they might not have everything, but at least they know they're on the right path, versus people that are like complaining about this and complaining about that, that jumps on you, and then your whole attitude changes.
Well, that depends. I mean, I have to differentiate my close friends.
Yeah.
Who I can kick it with and have really meaningful conversations because we're both on sobriety paths. I have a few friends that aren't sober, but we have very deep conversations.
Yeah.
But when they tell me things that they're going through, I like to listen. Like, this is what I think. And also because of the line of work I'm in and the people that are around me, I don't really try to separate myself from people. If I see that somebody's a complainer, I realize like that person is having that person's experience at this time in that person's life. So I can either redirect, I can give them my input, I can't change them, right?
Yeah.
But I'll tell you this right now. The more I listen, the more I be around you, the less I think about me. The more I listen to you, the more I learn about me. So I can see if someone's a complainer, how I used to be a complainer too. So who redirected me and showed me? I had great mentors. I still have great mentors that can redirect me because I could complain.
Yeah.
I could go to somebody and sit down and complain, and usually the people I will complain to is going to be a sponsor or a spiritual advisor or a mentor, or something. And they're going to tell me, so what's up, Pej? Like, okay, I hear you. What I'm hearing is this. Are you in the problem? Are you going to remain in that problem, or are you going to get in the solution? When they say that to me, then I see somebody else talking that way. I can do the same with them.
Yeah,
Hey,
yeah.
listen, with all due respect, you told me how you feel. I'll validate their feelings.
Yeah.
But what are you going to do about it?
What are you going to do about
Are
it?
you going to stay in the problem and complain about it? You're going to be in that victim mentality, that victim mode, victimese, suffering from victimese, or are you going to break out of it and rise above?
That's good. All right, we're about to wrap it up, but a lot of people struggle with staying sober for the holidays.
Yeah.
So let's give us a little bit of tips. Like, how can you stay sober for Thanksgiving? Some people are going to go try to reach for that soda. They're going to see some Coronas, some Dos Equis. You know what I'm saying?
I always put every year on my Facebook, I have this post, and I was thinking about it the other day, right around the holidays, this is what I say. Big ups. Here's to the people
Yeah.
in recovery who are able to be present with their family and aren't resorting to the bathroom, playing Russian roulette with their lives, and now you can actually be amongst your family members. Listen, if you had a drinking problem and your family's drinking still, they didn't have the problem. You did. I'm hoping that you're working on recovery enough to know the magnitude of your illness and not partake or want to go or to be tempted to do it. Holidays shouldn't be a time of year where people put their recovery at risk.
Right.
You know why? Because when I was using and drinking, every day was a holiday.
It was.
I was partying like a rock star, like it was 1999, like New Year's Eve every single day. So it's like all of a sudden, because Thanksgiving rolls around or Christmas rolls around or New Year's rolls around, I suddenly put my recovery on the back burner. No, man, this is the time of year where
me.
I can be festive. I don't have to drink. I don't have to use to have a good time. And actually, I invite the holidays into my life, and I'm going to enjoy them.
Yes.
Y'all can do your drinking and stuff like that. I don't care. That's your life. I'm gonna do my thing, right? I'm gonna enjoy myself. As a matter of fact, I like to people watch, so it's fun to watch a few people that might be drinking around me and seeing as they go from one drink and looking a certain way to the next one. And like it's one thing to be like buzzed, inebriated, annihilated, like drunk, right?
The stages of a buzz.
Stages of drinking.
I don't know if you agree with this, Pej, but a big belief I have is if you're struggling with drinking and you're still trying to get sober and stay sober and your whole family drinks, you might have to go hang out somewhere else for the holidays. That's how it was for me. Like I didn't have the ability to be around it, and I knew that about myself, so I was just going to put myself in a different environment. I don't know what you think about that. When I
was newly sober, because I was so used to partying all the time, or my head was like going like a hamster wheel. So luckily, I got involved in the 12-step world, and I would hear about marathon meetings, and I would go and
That's good.
I'd go to like certain meetings that were going all night long, and there it was like one meeting per hour. I get to be around different people, hear different messages. I needed the meetings right during that time. But you're absolutely right, man. If you're gonna be putting your recovery at risk, you don't hang out with those people. You know what? If your family members that still do that stuff really respect your recovery, they're not going to do it around you too, or put you in an uncomfortable situation. There are some family members that don't think that far. They think about themselves and that they want to party, and that maybe Billy that just got out of rehab 3 months ago is going to be in the room. Maybe we don't want to make Billy feel uncomfortable. Or there's weddings where I've actually been to where like one side is an alcoholic bar and the other side's the non-alcoholic.
Yeah.
So that's cool. Go hang out at the non-alcoholic bar and go have some like some cranberry juice with a little lime on the side of it, things like that.
A little mocktail.
If you feel like your recovery's at risk, don't go. You could just be like, respectfully, I'm gonna not come this year. Maybe next year when I'm more secure in my recovery, I'll come.
Yeah, it happens. It happens. Well, thank you so much, Pej, for coming on, man. Anybody that wants to share some tips of how you're staying sober during the holidays, or if you have questions, put them down in the comment section. We'll answer them on the next recording that we do. But really appreciate you guys. Make sure you like, subscribe, share. All of your info will be there.
What's
all
the
of
name
my
of your
info.
podcast?
Using My Story.
This is Using My Story.
This is Using My Story.
This is the Using My Story podcast.
That's what it is.
This is Isaac.
Yes.
And this is my boy, and we've been in communication for years. We're friends.
Yep.
And what a pleasure, honor, and a privilege to be asked to come and be on the podcast.
I'm so excited to be here. You're like a big brother to me.
I'm excited.
You really are. Thank you for everything you've done, everything you continue to do.
And I'm gonna have you on my podcast, which is Peggy's Recovery Corner.
Yes, sir.
It'll be your turn soon.
Yeah, we're going to have to go. We'll come through.
All right, cool.
Thanks, guys. Have a good one.